right, let's see if we're online here again. Man, oh man, the rise of sex work. Okay, let's just check this real quick. All right, we're live. All right, we're live. All right, so first and foremost, just want to start off by saying and giving all praises and glory and honor due unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakah HaKodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, that Ruwa and that do teach well and that have taught me this truth. Kwam Yasha'Allah Abba Babal, and Shalom to the hopeful elect. And, I just want to start off by saying this video is not going to be just about talking about the woman, but it's just going into the topic of sex work and how it's increasing in these times, especially during the beginning of this whole pandemic, right? Which we're still in it. Um, but you're seeing a lot of women going into sex work now, and I have something to share with you today uh, with also these precepts that I pulled up going into that. So without further ado, here it is. So this is from Vice.com, Vice News, okay? And this was posted today, October 28th, 2022. And it says people are turning to sex work as costs of living rise and they're being punished for it. And it says there's nothing I was doing on OnlyFans that I wasn't doing as a single woman, except that I found a way to monetize it. Really. Um, and that's how these people think. Just think about that quote for a moment. That's how these people think out here. And really, these women, that's how they think. They think it's okay, but the Lord is against that. And before I get started, let me start off with this. This is Isaiah chapter 32 and 9. It says, "Rise up, ye women that are at ease, hear my voice, ye careless daughters, give ear unto my speech. Many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless woman, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come." Yeah, and rise up, ye women that are at ease, because your time of being at ease is coming to an end. And the liberty that you so-called have is about to be taken away, which I don't really call it liberty. The liberty that this devil gives you is really set up to destroy you and to keep you on a dark path. But that time of you gallivanting and doing whatever you want, being careless, uh, running about up and down the street, sleeping whoever you want to sleep with, having kids who you want with whoever you want with. That's about to come to an end. You running game and finessing men, really finessing weak men. That's going to come to an end. Give ear unto my speech, and you should give ear unto this. You should listen. Because the scriptures is giving you counsel, it's giving you rebuke, and it's really telling you the truth, right? Verse 10: Many days and years shall ye be troubled, and that's what you're coming into in the time of trouble. It starts with Jacob trouble, but that trickles on down to you women as well, especially you Israelite women. First and foremost, you are going to be troubled, and it's going to come through forms of civil unrest, martial law, rape, death, you being put to death, you being killed, right? You being raped. Ye careless woman, for the vintage shall fail. Yeah, that's right, the vintage. All them little goodies that you used to get from the government, ladies' night out, welfare, child support, alimony, right? All of those things are about to be taken away. You being supported and not, you being supported without working, without doing a damn thing. You know, you have all these um, metropolises, which when you go into that word, it just means mother city, right? Why do they call it that? They call it that for a reason, because these big cities are really catered to you women. Why do you think shopping malls were created? They weren't created really for men. They were created for you women because you women like to shop, right? Business ethics, marketing, right? All of that catered, all of that is really catering to you. Ladies free before 11 or 10. You know, that's to lure in the men so they can buy drinks for you, right? All that vintage shall fail, man. The gathering shall not come. That's right. Tremble, ye women that are at ease. That's right. And you are going to tremble when you lose that check, when all hell breaks loose. You are going to tremble when you realize that the Lord is against you and nobody's going to be there to hold you. You know, the day is going to come where you're going to have to sleep with someone just to stay alive. And you're not going to be willing in that day to do it. You're going to be forced to do it. Okay? Just like that woman in the movie, um, what's it called? The Book of Eli. You know, in the beginning of the movie, what did that woman do? You know, she was working with those two men to trap men. She was basically a slave, man. Basically, probably a sex slave too. Probably getting popped on the side, but she was used to lure men. You know, that's what you're going to be reduced to in that day, for good and bad. All right. All right. So, anyways, it says, "Be troubled, ye careless ones, strip you and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins." And that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be crying. You're going to be in a mournful state, and he's going to strip you out of these clothes, out of these harlot clothes, and he's going to reduce you and put you in sackcloth, and that represents you mourning, man. You crying, you being in a low estate. They shall lament for the teats, for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine. And that's what you're going to lament for. You're going to lament for all the things that you once had, you know, because you lost it. That nice position, right? So, anyways, I just want to bring that out first. Let me just go into the article real quick. I won't read it all. I'm going to jump around because it's kind of self-explanatory. You get the point, you'll understand, you know, the point. So it says, in the spring of 2021, Ali Ray was on shift at the hospital where she worked as a nurse when her direct supervisors and their bosses called her into her manager's office. There, she said they opened a manila envelope full of Ali Ray's nude photographs with Sharpie marks covering parts of her body. And you know, this is a white woman, man. Ali Ray. Can't get any more white than that, right? Edomite woman, which, you know. Anyways, let me move down. I guess this is her, right? So it says, "It was totally safe for work. It was me in a jersey with pigtails," Ali Ray said. About 2 months after her bosses opened the manila envelope full of her pictures and multiple discussions with HR and the nurses union, they told Ali Ray that she'd have to quit OnlyFans or she'd be fired. Salakia. The ultimatum came at a time when she and her husband were earning tens of thousands of dollars per month on OnlyFans, significantly more than what she made at the hospital. So she quit her hospital job and started working online full time, right? And she lost her job because of that, because it was very distracting, right? So now she's gonna do it full time. And you know, her husband was involved, right? Her husband was a part of this as well. And you got a lot of weak men, wicked niggas out there that are doing that, OnlyFans, with their women, you know, and the scriptures go against that. But she had to actually do this full time because she lost her job, and rightfully so, because you know she disrupted the mood of the workplace, and it kind of brought down the morale of the workplace. So yeah, you got to be fired, because if you have somebody like that working there, you know, it's like you're telling everybody that that's how all your staff is if you let that person work there. So she had to be made an example of, out of. right? So I understand why they fired her, right? But now it says Ali Ray is hardly the only person to lose a job because of racy content or sex work. In 2017, a Canadian train conductor lost her job in with Canadian Pacific Railway after her employer decided her Instagram pictures violated the company's code of ethics and its internet and email policy. In 2020, a Honda mechanic in Indiana was fired because her colleagues had watched her OnlyFans content at work. In January, a police officer in Colorado was forced to resign after someone sent in an anonymous tip about her OnlyFans to her employer. Her colleagues allegedly gossiped about her content behind her back. And now it says the stigma around sex and specifically selling sex is likely driving employers to fire staff who engage in sex work. Last month, a police officer in Detroit was forced to resign after her police chief learned about her OnlyFans and Instagram accounts. And this whole OnlyFans thing, that's really a gig. That's not really a job. And you really what's gonna happen when the internet shuts down? What are you gonna do? What happens? What are you gonna do for money? Like, what are you gonna fall back on? Like, what are you gonna really do? At the end of the day, a woman is just really set up to serve, whether she's a prostitute or whether she's just a wife. Whether she's good or bad, it just shows you the makeup of a woman on what she's supposed to do. You know, Regardless whether it's in righteousness or wickedness, she's gonna serve a man at the end of the day. That's what I get from looking at this as well. That's your role. Matter of fact, let me get something. The head of every man, because I'm gonna show you the order. The head of every man, right? So 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Yahushai, and the head of the woman is the man. And the head of Yahushai is the Most High Yahweh, right? So it's telling you the order of things. So Yahushai, he's over us, okay? And the man is over the woman. So what does that mean? The woman is set up to serve the man. And now this is the righteous way of doing things, okay? This is the righteous way of doing things, right? But that order still applies on how things are done in wickedness as well, right? Even when you become prostitutes, sometimes you have a pimp, right? And that pimp is over you. That's a man at the end of the day. And even when you become a prostitute and let's just say you do business by yourself, you're still serving a man, right? He's just paying you to do it. So that's really the general makeup of woman. That's her role. That's her function. Okay. So anyways, I'll read it. It says, the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Yahushai is the Most High. And that's who Yahushai reports to. He reports to the Father. He sits on the right hand of the Father, right? So that's the makeup. So pretty much you woman, you're set up to serve the man. And that's how you really serve Yahushai. It's really through your man. Okay? All right, so let's move on. Now, it says here, and while the force acknowledged that her OnlyFans page wasn't illegal, a spokesperson for Detroit police said one of the bedrocks of DPD is you have to keep your private life unsullied as well. And that's true. You gotta keep your private life, to yourself. You can't put that out in the open. And you know what? It is illegal in the sight of the Lord. It's just that this society, it tells you that it isn't. You're not supposed to prostitute yourself, right? You're not supposed to be a whore. Scriptures talk about that. Let's pull it up. So, is that what I want? Hold on, let me see this. Okay, so I'll get this. Leviticus chapter 19 and 29. Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom and the land become full of wickedness. Hey, and that's what America promotes. You're allowed to You're allowed to have prostitutes, right? And that's why the land is full of whoredom, and that's physically and spiritually, because this place promotes idolatry and spiritual adultery, let alone physical adultery, right? So it could play out twofold, but this is the actual law that it's going to. This is illegal. You know, a woman isn't supposed to be a prostitute, especially a daughter of Israel. So it says, do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom and the land become full of wickedness. And this place is full of wickedness, man. When you have sex work all over the place, and especially if it's increasing, you know that this is a wicked place, right? And they're saying, man, due to the pandemic, sex work is rising, man. You have a lot of young women resorting to this, and old women, and you even have men too, right? So that says it all, man. The land has become full of wickedness, man. Rape, robbery, murder, iniquity, right? The state of you being in the condition without having the law, that reigns supremes over here in Babylon the Great. And it's become to the point where you're just used to breaking the law. It's like second nature for you to do it. Committing adultery is like second nature to some of our people, especially you tribes, man. Committing adultery, being a prostitute, like it's a game. It's like fun to do, right? So that's how wicked this place has become, man. They make jokes about it, man. You have thoughties, right? You got tricks out here being a super slut, posting that all on Instagram, social media, etc. Got the slut march, you got the Me Too movement, all this bullshit, man, right? So that's how you know this place has become full of wickedness, because of the prostitution out here. That's spiritual and physical. So that's what I wanted to bring out on that. Let's move on. So it says Chief White takes these things very seriously because it represents not just DPD, but all of the city of Detroit, the spokesperson told Fox 2. Yeah, and that's why she had to get let go. And rightfully so. I understand that. Right? But I have to show you through the scriptures it's illegal. Let me get another law. So it says Leviticus chapter 21, verse 9. And the daughter of any priest, which we all are now priests, we are a nation of kings and priests, right? We're everything, right? So that applies to us men in the truth, right? The daughter of any priest, if she profane herself by playing the whore, she profaneth her father, she also be burnt with fire. That's right, put to death. So you know what? You're supposed to be burnt with fire, especially if you're a daughter of any priest. And we are priests, right? A nation of kings and priests. Let me get that. Kings. You know me, I always remember it, but I always forget where it is. Young Zymers, man. All right, I guess I gotta go into. Yeah, what was it? Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Revelation 1 and 6. Let's get it. Since I said it. Um, and he hath made us kings and priests unto the Most High and his Father. To him be glory and dominion forever and ever. Amen. That's right. So that's our status, man. We're supposed to be kings and priests, both kings and priests. And we know that the Heavenly Father, he's a king and he's also a priest, right? Yahweh Shai, he's a king and he's a priest. Going back to the order of Melchizedek, that falls upon us too. through the rank and file, right? So that applies to us, man. So hey, if your daughter is acting like this, she's supposed to be burnt with fire. So these women, man, they're really supposed to be burnt with fire. A majority of them, right? Especially our women, if they're acting like that, they're supposed to be burnt with fire, put to death. But they don't allow you to do that over here. If you do that, you'll go to jail. You know, you go to jail. So, anyways, it says here, but with the recent astronomical rise of the cost of living due to inflation, and it's with the recession, and also that goes into the so-called pandemic, right? More people are turning to sex work supplement their income. This took off during the early days of the pandemic, even though making money on OnlyFans is a lot harder than most people realize. And now those teachers, nurses, and others who are creating content online risk losing their primary jobs because they're being outed or targeted at their workplaces. And it's funny, these people who work on OnlyFans, on these pornographic websites, they're your teachers, they're your nurses, they're member, they're so-called they're deemed so-called functioning members of society or civil servants, man. These are the people that are taking care of you when you're sick in the hospital. They're the ones that take part in delivering your kids. They're the ones that take part in teaching your kids and getting them ready for post-secondary education. That's some wicked ass shit, man. Your kids are learning from this scumbag, man. This harlot, this dirty ass bitch, right? So just take that in, man. Think about that. That's Babylon the Great, man. And that shows you that wickedness is at an all-time high. And they put these wicked people in these positions, man, as civil servants, as teachers, as nurturers. What the fuck, man? Right? And that should get you tribes upset. That should get you tribes upset. That should make you mad. It makes me mad. But you know what? Prophecy has to play out. It has to be fulfilled because your woman, your wife, it was prophesied that she was going to become a harlot in the streets, and that's due to us going off as a nation, especially the men going off, right? And that's just the Lord showing you how it feels when you played the whore on him. He's going to make you go through that with your woman because that's how he felt when you went off with him, when you committed adultery, right? Becoming a backsliding daughter, man. So, and others who are creating content online risk losing their primary jobs because they're being outed or targeted at their workplaces. Working class people have seen decades of wage stagnation, have debt in many cases that previous generations didn't have, and we're facing inflation and a possible recession, said P.J. Patella Ray, a visiting University of Pittsburgh professor of gender, sexuality, and women's studies. Oh, that class is a disaster. I knew a person that took that class, man. It was a complete joke. It's a complete fucking joke. And you know what? A couple years later in the school, they actually made that a real course. It used to just be an elective. That's just a course that you don't take seriously. You just get into. Later on, man, it became a full fucking course. With this whole LGBT bullshit. I seen that with my own eyes. I witnessed that shit. And I just shook my head, man. I just shook my head. The person, it was a woman too, I was dealing with at that time. She brought these books to me and she was showing me the books of women's rights. And, I was just clowning her, man. I was like, hey, man, look at this. It's a joke book, because that's what it is. It's a fucking joke. It's a joke. Can't take this shit seriously, right? But that just shows you, man, wickedness is at an all-time high. That's it just shows you. It just shows you that, man. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But it is what it is. It is what it is, my friend. It is what it is. All right. So, let me get a precept. This is Haggai chapter 1, verse 6. Ye have sown much and bring in little, yet eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes. And that goes into being subject to payments, which goes into heavy debts. I bought you, you know, you being burdened with heavy debts, heavy pledges, weights of debt. And also this ties into inflation. You know, you work so hard and then now you're not really getting what you need in return for all that work. You're not getting the things to meet your needs. Not enough food, not enough water, not enough health care, not enough clothing to keep you warm, right? Not enough money to pay the electric bill or the hydro or whatever to keep your house heated. So what are you going to resort to, right? You're going to resort to prostitution, selling selling your ass, and pimping. Okay, that's what you men are going to do. You're also going to sell your ass. You have a lot of men that are doing it too. Becoming gigolos. Making an OnlyFans page with their wife and selling that content online. And that's all a result of you not being able to support yourself with just one job, and to the standard of living going up. So that's what you're going to resort to, man. So I just thought I'd use this precept as an example for that. And that represents our people, man. You sow in so much, you labor all day, and you don't have enough. And somebody's got their hands in your pocket due to inflation, heavy debts, and you being subject to payments. So what are you going to resort to when you don't have faith in the Lord? You're going to do wickedness. You're going to be an adulterer. You're going to be a prostitute. You're going to become a pimp, right? That hustle and flow spirit. It's hot out here for a pimp, right? And that's what you people are going to resort to when this place comes to an end, when this place is about to go through tribulation. We're starting to see that. So let me go back. It says people are dealing with really extreme and difficult financial conditions and social conditions and are just trying to survive. And we're just pushing them punishing them for their efforts. It's really, really unconscionable. Like most nurses who worked through the pandemic, Ali Ray was pulling a lot of overtime in the early days. Colleagues were frequently calling in sick, and her short staff unit was consistently overworked. Ali Ray was on call for 16-hour shifts instead of her previous 12, and face masks and other PPE were in short supply. It was very hard, Ali Ray said. On top of all that, her husband had been furloughed from his airline job when travel all but collapsed. We had lost a significant income in the household, and that was hard on our family, she added. Ali Ray had started her OnlyFans account in 2020 when she decided to film beer reviews on Instagram as a way to do something fun after her tiring pandemic-weary hospital shifts. In the comment section, viewers, mostly men, suggested that she start an OnlyFans. And these men, they encourage that wickedness, man. And then these women buy into it, right? And that just shows you our society is messed up. They promote this shit. Now, let me get a precept. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 5. For this ye know, that no whoremonger, nor unclean person, nor covetous man, who is an idolater, have any inheritance in the kingdom of Hamashiach Yahushua our power. Let no man deceive you with vain words. That's right, empty and wicked words. For because of these things cometh the wrath of the Most High upon the children of disobedience. And that's what it ties into, them vain words that these men are speaking on to her, man. Right? Enticing you to become a pimp, enticing you to become an idolater, enticing you to become a harlot. But guess what? When you buy into those vain words, you don't have an inheritance with Yahushai's kingdom. You know what you're going to have an inheritance with? The lake of fire. And you being put to death in the time of that trouble, that terrible day, the time of Jacob's trouble. So I'm going to read this part again, verse 6. Let no man deceive you with vain words. That's right. And you know, a lot of women, they're deceived with them words, man, that talk. A lot of you men are deceived with that talk as well. You know, that smooth words, that, you know, that soft oil, right? You know, those words seem sweet unto you. For because of these things cometh the wrath of the Most High upon the children of disobedience, starting with our people. So that's what you're going to get, man. And a whoremonger is a pimp, too. That goes into that. Now, it says, she hadn't heard of the site before. It wasn't until a lot of these stories started circulating about people making quite a bit of money on the platform. And we thought, oh my gosh. Ali Ray said, oh my gosh, it hit me. I got an epiphany, right? And that's what happens when you leave a woman all by herself. That's what happens when you leave her gallivanting, right? She falls, she just does wickedness, man. That's what happens when a woman has spare time when she's on the internet, when you don't have control over her. And you can't have control over her in this kingdom because there's laws that protect her for being a slut and a dumb bitch, right? So you can't do anything. You just have to eat it, right? Um, yeah, man, that's what I wanted from there. Actually, let me see if I can get something, right? Here we go. Okay, so you know, as a woman, especially if you're an older woman, you're supposed to be teaching the younger woman how to act properly. And you know, the older women of this society, you know, I'm talking about the ones that are older because they're nothing but old hoes too. They teach the younger women to act like sluts, you know, and this is the result of that too. That's why she's thinking this way, man. Because you know what, her mom or her grandmother probably told her that it was okay to act to think this way, you know, to go out and play the field. And where does that lead you? It leads you into doing things like this. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I just got an epiphany. I can think. Let me be a slut. How about that? So let's get a precept. So it says, First Timothy chapter 5 and 11. But the younger widows refuse, for when they have begun to wax wanton against Yahushai, they will marry, having damnation because they have cast off their first faith. And withal they learn to be idle, wandering about from house to house. That's right, tattletelling, being a bitch, gossiping, being a hoe, right? And not only idle, but tattlers also. And you know, you being idle, that's Satan's playground right there. You being idle and not having anything to do, guess what you're going to do? Because you're in the flesh, you're going to think of wickedness. Hey, and that's why we were given the laws, man. You know, the laws are forms of formalities and principles that keep our flesh in check and our spirit too. And it keeps us busy, right? And I'm going to switch topics a little bit, switch gears. That's the whole duty of man, to serve the Lord. And serving the Lord keeps you busy. So when you're out here serving the Lord, you don't have time to be idle. You don't have time to be dilly dabbling into wickedness, man. Right? Anyway, I just wanted to say that. But that also applies to you, woman, man, especially when you don't follow Yahweh Shai through your man. Right? So wandering about from house to house and not only idle, but tattlers, talking shit, right? Also, and busybodies. That's right, spreading rumors, going on the internet, talking about things you shouldn't be talking about, getting into fights when you shouldn't be getting into fights, right? Speaking things which they ought not. I will therefore the younger woman marry, bear children, guide the house, give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully. That's right. So your ass is supposed to be at home. You're supposed to marry. You're supposed to bear children and guide the house. That's right. Get back in the kitchen. For lack of better words, get back in the kitchen. That's what it's saying to you. Guide the house. And that applies to you getting back in the kitchen. The Lord said it, not me. And when you talk like that in the public, people get upset at you, especially if you're a man and you're doing it. Right? They get angry, but that's what the Lord said. Get back in the kitchen, man. And there's nothing wrong with that. Give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully. For some already turned aside after Satan. That's right. And that it is what it is. Right? These women are demons, man. Right? They're already taken over by the spiritual demons, Satan. They're demons. Fucking demons, man. Right? That starts with your mother, starts with your grandmother, it starts with your girlfriend, starts with your wife, starts with your daughter. Some of them are just already turned after Satan, man. There's nothing you could do about it. It is what it is. Okay? If any man or woman that believeth have widows, let them relieve them, and let not the church be charged, that it may relieve them that are widows indeed. Okay? So I just wanted to read that. And that's the counsel that, an older woman should be given to the younger woman. That's the type of instructions that she should be giving them. That's the advice that she should be giving them. That's how you condone yourself, especially if you're a young woman, right? And she's obviously not old, right? Because people only want to look at young, nice women, right? On OnlyFans. Well, some of them do. Now it says in September 2020, Ali Ray set up an account with her husband. They posted a few photos of Ali Ray without nudity and let the account sit. When they signed back into the account 2 weeks later, they saw they had already earned $7,000. That's right. Crime pays. Right? Crime pays. 7,000. Funny. That's the number of completion, right? It's funny. Complete wickedness. Right? And crime does pay. It does pay. But it only lasts for a short time. Right? It only lasts for a short time. The wages of sin is death. That's what you get in the long run, death. That's when they decided to take it more seriously, she said. So they wanted to do it even more. They wanted to do more hardcore things on the internet. So that entails them probably having sex on camera and doing things that they shouldn't be doing on camera, right? And I got a precept for that. Let me get that. This is Hebrews chapter 13:4. Marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled. But whoremongers and adulterers, the Most High will judge. So, marriage is an honorable thing, and it's also a sacred thing. And that's the union between a man and a woman, which is real sex, okay? Which sex means to cut. When a man puts his rod in a vagina, all right? But it's an honorable thing in the sight of the Lord, and it's also sacred. Because that's you making a bond between you and your woman. You're now connected spiritually. And you know how you know that? Sometimes you can pick up on your woman's vibrations, on what she's thinking. And that's because you've laid down with her, right? You've become one flesh. So that shouldn't be shared with anybody else. That should only be shared between you and her. So that counts for you going on OnlyFans and you sleeping with your wife on the internet, and showing that and posting that. That's not good. You're defiling the marriage. You're making it dishonorable. So you're not supposed to be doing that. You're not supposed to be doing that, man. Marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled. And that's you defiling your bed. Now you're having people watch you what you're doing in bed, and that's in a way that's them. That's you making them join your bedroom. Come into your bed and laying with you in a weird way. Them watching you do that. And this also cuts swingers. It also cuts you people doing orgies and stuff like that. It cuts all of that garbage. But whoremongers and adulterers, the Most High will judge. That's right. And you are going to get judged. And you're starting to see that happen. taking away your OnlyFans, and then what's going to happen to you? You being put to death and you being ravished in the time of trouble. So it says management first found out about her Instagram, which contained zero nudity, and then her OnlyFans. Ali Ray said she had no idea who had reported her content in the first place. Her managers told her that other nurses were uncomfortable with the content, but none of her colleagues, Ali Ray said, spoke with her directly about her online presence. That's what made me the most mad. Like, oh my God, everybody is so nice to me. Who's doing this? She said. Well, apparently you're wrong. They didn't really like you. That's why it's called tolerance in the workplace, right? They're just tolerating you. It doesn't mean they like you, right? Right. That's why you have an HR department to make sure that staff tolerates one another. So they don't necessarily like you. They're just tolerating you, and they're hiding behind a fake smile. You dumb bitch, right? And excuse my French, but it's true. And that goes back to you women being careless, man. Right? I'm going to read it one more time. Isaiah chapter 32, verse 9. Rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, you careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech. And that's a form of her being careless. Thinking that everybody's nice to her, going up and about when she really has enemies, man. That's a majority of you women. And I hate when you women say that, oh, he's so nice. Oh, she's so nice. Oh, he wouldn't do that. And that shows you a woman cannot judge, right? Because you're supposed to try the spirits, right? You're supposed to try the spirits, especially if you're a man. You're supposed to judge things properly. And this shows that a woman cannot judge. Hey, man, when I go places, I know when people don't like me. I can kind of like tell when they're lying, man. I can judge people. I look at their body language. I look at their eyes. I look at their face. Even when they're smiling, I can tell when they're lying to me, right? And that's not me just being a miserable fuck, but I can just tell. You know what I'm saying? I can just tell. Because a spiritual man judgeth all things. And that's how you got to be when you're moving in the flesh, man. Right? You got to be spiritual as hell. And you women, you don't got it. You ain't spiritual, man. You ain't spiritual. A majority of you. A majority, all right? So, spiritual man, right? This is 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 15. But he that is spiritual judges all things, yet he himself is judged of no man. Okay? All right? So if you're living in the spirit and doing the things what you got to do, however it may appear to some individuals, that's if you're being rude, right? If you're just being rude or you look eccentric in any way, you're not going to be judged by that person, man. Okay? Because you're spiritual. You're doing things in the spirit. And that's how you got to judge things, man. You got to judge things in the spirit. And you know how that comes? You know how that works? It's when the Lord is dealing with you. When you got that eye salve, when you got the knowledge, when you got Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, when you got the angels around you giving you that insight, that's how you start judging things spiritually. And a woman, you can't do that, man. Woman, you can't do that. Now, I said earlier, when you leave a woman alone, she's gonna be wicked in Gallivant. We read it. That's how it is, man. That's how it is. So it says Ali Ray said she had no idea. I already read that. It wasn't until the Daily Beast published a story about her that one of her colleagues apologized to Ali Ray and admitted that she was a part of a group that had outed her. People are so quick to judge us doing this, but it's like I had $130,000 in student loans. And that goes into, that fake clay, you being subject to payments. That entices a lot of people to sin out here. And that's because they don't really have a foundation. And that foundation should be the Lord. So if you're not grounded in this truth, especially you women and men too, you know, you're going to turn to adultery, man, whether it be physical or spiritual. You know, she wanted to pay that off. She wanted to pay that debt. So what did she resort to? Selling her ass. Because crime pays, man. She'd make more money being a whore than actually working a real profession. Do you believe that shit, man? Well, prostitution is it's an oldest profession. You know what I mean? I mean a more prominent profession. Slovakia, right? Right? Because that's a very good profession, being a nurse. You know, you're a civil servant. People look up to you, right? When people hear that there's a nurse in the room, they're thinking, "Oh, this person is gonna heal me. She's gonna nurture me. You know, I'm in good hands." You know, this lady didn't make that much. You know, she didn't make as much by being a nurse. So she went and resorted to prostitution. Ain't that some shit? That shows you Babylon the Great is wicked as hell, man. And it shows you that this system has to be destroyed, right? It shows you that. I have 3 children in hockey. Until they're left with the pressures of that, it's very easy for someone to judge what they would or wouldn't do, Ali Ray said. Well, take them out of hockey, right? Take them out of hockey then. Take them out of hockey, right? That ain't the end all be all. Your children will get over it. Take them out of hockey. Put them into something else. You know, that's less expensive. You know, the Lord, He didn't give you a license to sin here, man. He didn't give anybody a license to sin. So is that really justifiable? You know, really think about that. You know, oh, okay, I'm gonna be a hoe now because I have student loan debt, and I have three children in hockey. So you know what I'm gonna do? Sell my box. Yeah, that's a solution. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on. Come on, man. Listen to that shit, man. Listen to how stupid that sounds. And that's the logic of the American woman, man. God damn. Think about that. The North American woman. That's the logic behind that shit. Asinine, man. Absurd. Asinine. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. There we go. That's what I want. Ecclesiasticus chapter 15 and 20. I knew it. I knew there was in the Apocrypha. So Ecclesiasticus 15 and 20. He didn't give you a license to sin, man. All right? Especially doing it willfully. Or anyway. All right. Now, if you're doing it unwillfully, you know, the Lord will wink at your ignorance a couple times, you know. But the Lord, man, if you do it willfully, He ain't gonna reward bad behavior. All right. That's not what the Lord is about. He ain't gonna reward bad behavior because you had 3 children in hockey and you had student loan debt. So fucking what? Right? Go read the Adawan Palal, man. Go recite that prayer so the Lord can take away your debt. Problem with you goddamn people, man. It pisses me off, man. So this is uh Ecclesiasticus chapter 15 and 20. He hath commanded no man to do wickedly, neither hath he given any man license to sin. Did you hear that? He didn't give you a license to sin. He gave you a license to be righteous. Why? Because you gave you the law, statutes, and commandments. And what is sin? Sin is transgression of the law. So he doesn't want you to transgress the law, man. So he didn't give you a license. That was the whole point of you getting the contract, Israel, right? And that includes you women. You women are a part of the contract too, under your man. And I read the order earlier, right? You know, that covenant said, it told you, hey, you know, if you don't follow these laws, statutes, and commandments, you're going to get the curses of Deuteronomy 28 put upon you, man. You know what the curses are set up for? Punishment, judgment for you breaking the law. So the Lord, He didn't give you a license to sin, right? Let me read this again, man. Just listen to how stupid this is, man. This is her quote, Ali Ray. People are so quick to judge us doing this, but it's like I had $130,000 in student loans. I have 3 children in hockey. Until they're left with the pressures of that, it's very easy for someone to judge what they would or wouldn't do, Ali Ray said. That's not a dire situation, buddy. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It is very hard. Of course, it's very hard. You have to live off the sweat of your brow, dumbass. All right, let me get that precept. Of course, it's going to be hard. And some people think I'm cold hearted, man. I ain't cold hearted. I'm just telling you the facts. That's the truth. Hold on. Yeah, Genesis 3:19. From the beginning, when Adam fell off, you had to live by the sweat of your brow. You had to work for a living. You had to put in effort. Of course, it's going to be hard, man. How you think this is? You think it's a cakewalk? Living ain't cheap, but dying is free. How about that? Get used to it. Okay, Genesis 3:19. Just talking to myself, prophesying to the wind. Okay, so Genesis chapter 3, verse 19. And it says here, let's get this. Start from 17. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife. Oh, did you hear that? See, some already given unto Satan, man. And that's what you get, man. You get punished when you listen to your wife, man. Don't listen to her, man. Especially if she's telling you to go off. Don't listen to that. Rebuke that bitch, just like how Job did it. You speak like the foolish woman. Shut up, Job. Curse the Most High and tell the Most High, curse him and die. Briefly paraphrasing. You speak like one of the foolish woman. Stupid woman. Get out of my way. And yes, it was a full-blown argument, man. Because you never get between a man and his power. All right? Never get between that. And Job knew the order. And I read it earlier. The head of every man is Yahweh Shai. Right? And he knew that. And that's why he spoke like that. And it was an argument, man. He didn't speak softly. Okay? So, and unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast thou eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it, curses the ground for thy sake. In sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. Oh my God. So, for the rest of your life, your remaining life that you have on this earth, you're going to have to work hard. You're going to have to work hard for your money. You're going to have to work for your food. You're going to have to be subject to taxes, especially in this day and age, right? Subject to payments, plus getting ripped off. And when you sow, and when you put seed into the earth, you may not even get your full yield because the earth is cursed or the ground is cursed. So you know what? You got to work twice as hard now. All right? Verse 18, thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread. That's right, you're going to sweat. Sweat. Work for that money, boy. Work. Whip it. Right? Till thou return unto the ground. For out of it wast thou taken. For dust thou art, and unto dust thou shalt return. And that's the truth. And that's what the Lord told you. And that's the ultimatum. If you don't get with the program, which you didn't, now you're going to have to pay. Now you're going to have to work hard. So, hey, man, it is very hard. And I understand, it's hard having kids. You see them, your kids are going to tempt you. You look at them faces. oh, daddy, mommy, I'm hungry. Oh, I want to play hockey. That's gonna cause you to sin. But you got to be strong, man, to resist that. You got to be strong, man. And that shows you your own enemies of your own household, man. You have to work for that, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. We just read that. So it is what it is. The cost of living is very expensive, and nurses are vastly underpaid, as well as teachers and a lot of professions, she added. Fast forward to 2022, and Sarah Jiri, a teacher, a single mom of two, also launched her OnlyFans in June to boost her income. Her teaching job, which paid a modest $55,000 salary. That sucks, man. That's not good. Also didn't offer health insurance. Oh, worse. Jury was struggling to make ends meet. Health insurance and rent alone ate up half of her pay, and rising costs only made matters worse. And your dad is the system, and your dad, and that means he's prostituting you because you're his daughter. We read the law earlier, right? Really, you're owned by the state, man. Especially you women, right? You're really property of the state. And we read it earlier, Leviticus chapter 19, verse 29. Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom and the land become full of wickedness. And through what you're doing, raising the standard of living, that's causing these women to be prostitutes and resorting to this, right? Just saying, just to compare and contrast, it's true, right? You do have a driver's license, you do have a birth certificate. So what does that mean? You're owned by the state, right? And the state is the man, right? So you're owned by this devil, and you know what he's doing? Raising the standard of living. So now what are you going to do? He's going to prostitute you, which he's already doing already when you're under these contracts. You're really just a business. You're really being pimped out in a really weird way when you think about it. But you know what I mean if you can catch my drift, right? But whatever. So let's move on. It says fast forward to 2022. No, I already read that. A friend who has made 10,000 on OnlyFans in a single month inspired Jury to give the platform a try. But less than a month after Jury's account went live, a local blogger wrote about her account and sent images to Jury's employer. Jury lost her job about a day later. It was humiliating, she told Vice News last month. And that's crazy. Now, I wanted to get a precept here. Um, it was in Amos, uh, chapter 7, verse, I'll start at 17. It says, therefore, thus saith the Lord, thy wife shall be an harlot in the city, and thy sons and thy daughters shall fall by the sword, and thy land shall be divided by line, and thou shalt die in a polluted land, and Israel shall surely go into captivity forth of his land. And when you look into the context of it as well, it goes into how Amos went up, or really he cursed out Amaziah, that the wicked priest who was worshiping Baal, and he prophesied this against him as well. And then he told you what was going to happen to Israel in the future because of their wickedness, right? And really, when you go into Amaziah, the wicked priest, he was actually trying to quench the spirit and not have him prophesy in Bethel. He actually had contention with him, and he was going against him. He was actually slandering him. It got to the point where he actually told on him. He told King Jeroboam of the time, Jeroboam II, I believe. I read the history. I think it's Jeroboam II, King Jeroboam. And he tried to give him an ill name, right? So you know what he did? He cursed him out, man. He cursed him out. But you know what? In a whole, this represents Israel, right? Israel in the sight of the Lord, and also the men in Israel, right? On what's going to befall your wife in captivity. She's going to be a harlot. She's going to be a hoe, right? And it comes in different forms, whether she becomes a prostitute, whether she just becomes a slut and just sleeps around for fun, right? That's what it's going into, man. Okay? Having many husbands, and she doesn't necessarily have to do it for money too, but She's going to be a harlot in the city. And that's what this promotes, man. That's why your wife is not a virgin when you get her. She was sleeping around with different men. So you know that makes her a harlot, right? And thy sons and thy daughters shall fall by the sword. And that's what's getting ready to befall on you Israelites, right? Because you women are going to become harlots when this place is taken over, when these troops invade this place, and you're caught out there in the open. They're going to turn you into sex slaves. They're going to make you ride the cock carousel, right? They're going to gang bang you. I don't mean to get vulgar, right? But that's what's going to happen. They're going to gang bang you. They'll probably chop you up into little pieces after, turn you into a sex slave. You're going to be passed around like a hot potato. So the soldiers can get their rocks off while they're over here invading this place. How about that? Right? So hey, that's going to happen to you. And a lot of women, man, you see them partaking in this behavior willfully, getting gang banged, getting trains ran on them. A lot of women like that have to die too. A lot of you have to die, man. Partaking in orgies, getting gang banged, getting spit on, willfully, trying to live that Kim Kardashian lifestyle, right? A lot of you guys have to die, man. You have to experience the sword. You have to experience your flesh being cut up, man. You getting a bullet in your head. That's what you're going to experience. Death, man. A brutal death. Because you can't deal with a woman like that, man. Ultimately. Right? Now, are harlots going to be saved? Of course. The ones that change their ways, of course, that have a willful and contrite heart, of course they're going to be saved. Because that's who Yahushua is coming for. But I'm talking about those women who are just satanic, man. Who are just really wicked. Who just don't give a fuck. You have to die, man. You have to die. And thy sons and thy daughters shall fall by the sword. That's right. Get chopped up, get killed, get gunned down. And thy land shall be divided by line, and thou shalt die in a polluted land, and Israel shall surely go into captivity for his land. Right? And this happened to us many times. But in the time of Jacob's trouble, Israel is going to get fucked up. Right? Israel's going to get fucked up. But I just used this precept just to show you how women have become harlots over here. That's what I really want to use it for, just to illustrate that point, right? So your woman is a harlot in the street, and that's what you're seeing, man. It's just interesting. And you know what? Another precept comes to mind: a woman shall compass a man, because a lot of you women, you're making a lot of money off of this stuff, making more money than these men out here who are actually working hard, working a real job, right? So it says, a woman shall compass a man, right? It's in Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 22. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? Damn. For Yahweh hath created a new thing in the earth. That's right. Backsliding daughter, you damn slut. How long is this going to continue on? Damn hoe. Backsliding on my covenant. For the Lord hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man. That's right. And that's what you're seeing through OnlyFans, man. Making money off of that stuff. And being proud too. Just for shaking her ass, showing her legs, showing her titties, and also having sex on camera. She's making more money than you just by being a thought. And also that ties into them getting the jobs, getting them getting supported, them not having to work a lot, when they should be. They're getting rewarded and compassing a man just for being idle in this life, or in this captivity. So that's what the Lord created, and that's to punish you, man. That's to punish you, right? That's to punish you. Punish you. Now it says, let's go back. It's just interesting what people pick and choose to approve in their minds as far as sex and sexuality goes. Jiri said, there is nothing I was doing on OnlyFans that I wasn't doing as a single woman, except that I found a way to monetize it. Wow. Wow, that is evil as fuck. Just listening to that, man. It's like, what's the problem? As a single woman, I was doing this for free and, I wasn't making money off it. But now everybody has a problem when now I'm making money off of it. And, that just shows you that this place is a place of confusion. That's confusing as fuck, you know? But all of this is still wickedness. All of this is still wickedness, whether you're doing it for free, whether you're doing it on your leisure, or whether you're doing it for money. It's all wickedness, man. And it's like they're choosing what to deem as wicked. What? Let me get a precept, man, before I go on a rant. Let me get a precept. Woe unto them that call, right? Isaiah chapter 5 and 20. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. And that's what they're doing with this, right? And that's also confusion, right? Picking and choosing what is wicked and what is not wicked, creating these double standards. And that's what confuses a lot of people out here. And that's what I said. That's why you need formalities when you're in this flesh. That's why you got the law, right? That's why you got the law. So this shit doesn't come up, right? So let's move on. The irony is obvious. Studies show that many people with internet access watch porn, meaning they consume the content sex workers produce. But they're not the ones being punished. Sex workers are. People have a remarkable capacity for double standards, just like what I just said, man. Right? These double standards wouldn't come about if you had the law. And at the end of the day, man, a whore is a deep ditch. A whore is a deep ditch. We get a precept. We get a scripture. Proverbs chapter 6, verse 24. To keep thee from the evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman. And that's twofold. That's both a physical woman and also a spiritual woman. Because these strange women are these different doctrines, man. And they do give you the flattery of the tongue. Being a Muslim, listening to that garbage, that's all flattery of the tongue, of a strange woman. Christianity, oh, the Lord will forgive all your sins. All people can be saved, right? That's flattery of the tongue of a strange woman, man, right? But in general, when you go back to prostitution, she'll spit game at you just so she can pick you up and take your money, right? Lust, and they say all types of things to entice you, men, in flattery. Oh, you're the best. Oh, you're so big. Oh, you can go all night, baby. Oh, you're so big. You're so strong. Oh, Big Daddy. Oh, give it to me, Big Daddy. Oh, you're so fine. When they're lying, man. When they're lying, man. So it says, verse 25, lust not after her beauty in thine heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids. So don't look at the outer appearance. Look at the inner appearance. And you don't want to be, well, you know what? Some of us are going to be like the prodigal son, man. Like I said earlier, a whore is a deep ditch. What did the prodigal son do? Which we all were the prodigal son at one point. We went away from the law, statute, commandments. We went away from the Lord. We spent our inheritance. We cast it all away. We spent it on idols. We spent it on these hoes out here, these different philosophies, and also physical hoes too, right? We did that. And you know what that led? You know what that turned us into? It turned us into a commoner, just nothing but a so-called commoner when we were really just princes, man. We just turned into the average commoner out here, that's taking part in eating swine and doing a wicked shit. But then we came out of that, and then we went back to the Father. So that, like I said, man, a whore is a deep ditch, and that's what the prodigal son experienced. They took all his money away. And you hoes ain't getting a dime from me, man. And if you do get a dime, it's going to be the bare minimum. And you better make my day, man. And I'm going to get my money's worth, man. All right? I'm going to get my money's worth. And I ain't paying you more to not give me a good ride, all right? I'm going to say it like that. I don't want to say the F word. So, verse 26, for by means of a whorish woman, a man is brought to a piece of bread, and the adulteress will hunt for the precious life. Oh my gosh, man. Do I have to explain that? Do I have to explain that? No, that's self explanatory. You can figure that out. You're left with nothing. You're left with nothing. And you also forsook your power too. So you're in bad standing. All right, so let's move on. So let's go on now. It says, sex workers are people have remarkably capacity for double standards. All right, so it says notably several sex workers who've gone viral for losing their day jobs because of their online content had caretaking jobs such as nursing or teaching that are statistically staffed primarily by women. So yeah, this is going to affect you women. That's what we read. Arise, you women that are at ease. Right, and these are the jobs that you're supposed to be doing. Right, it's true. You are supposed to be a nurturer, but you're not getting paid for it in this wicked kingdom. Right. It's just so backwards, man. It's just so backwards, this place. Confusion. So many university students have also turned to various forms of sex work to make extra money. Sex work is a field that particularly can be friendly to caretakers, mothers, and others, as well as people with disabilities and folks who are not only not paid enough, but struggle to find jobs that accommodate the rest of their lives, said Heather Berg, a Washington University in St. Louis professor and an author of porn work, which is why Berg added that publishing sex workers and content creators is additionally so cruel. Which, when you go into porn, that comes from the Greek word porneia, which is really fornication, and that's a form of idolatry. So like you doing this OnlyFans and you posting your content on these pornographic websites like Pornhub and shit. That's a form of idolatry and fornication, man. That's a whole demon within itself, right? Right, and that's why it says don't prostitute that wife or your daughter. Let me see if I pulled it up earlier, because it says lest the land fall to whoredom and the land become full of wickedness. That pushes forth more wickedness, man, because when people watch that shit, all types of other demons come on them. Now you want to do drugs. Now you want to sniff some cocaine. Now you want to smoke some weed. Now you have that image in your mind that now I can go pop another man's wife. Maybe that's how all women act now. Maybe I should treat all women like that. And that just spreads more fucking negativity, man. More wickedness, man. You see why this place has got to go, man? And you see why we have the laws, man? You see, prostitution just doesn't lead to you sleeping around and you defiling yourself. You contaminate others, man. And you contaminate the environment as well. And more demons start to manifest. Right? That's what you want to do. Light up a doobie and then watch porn. Right? And then that makes people become addicted. That's a demon, man. That's all types of demons on that shit. That's demons, bro. That's demons, man. But it is what it is. And usually people who say it is what it is are usually the people that don't care. All right? So it says, and legal protections for sex workers are non-existent. In the U.S., sex worker status, whether current or former, is not a protected category. So you can be legally fired for doing sex work, but not for other sorts of things, Berg said. So there's no job security for that. Last month, 22-year-old Jalen went viral after she shared how her employer allegedly fired her from her nursing job because fellow nurses were watching and gossiping about OnlyFans content at work. And funny thing, man, because nurses have that stigma of being a hoe too, right? Like when you watch them old movies, they cut like, especially if they're for like an older audience, they go into that. Like they make jokes about that. They make innuendos about that, right? I used to watch some old World War II movies, and no, not World War II. I mean those old Vietnam movies, and they used to say that like when the soldiers, them nurses, man, they'll give you blowjobs if you're not well. So nurses already have a stigma of being hoes too. So when you go into these hospitals, when you go into Dracula's castle, just picture that woman as a hoe, man, flat out. Like a large percentage of them. So, anyways, so it says you can be legally fired for doing sex work, but not for other sorts of things. Berg said last month. Yeah, I read that. We're watching and gossiping about OnlyFans content at work while I'm always doing care on somebody. They're at the nurse's station looking at my Instagram, looking at my Twitter, looking at my site. They paid for my site, Jalen said on TikTok. And that's what idle hands do, man. And we just read it in First Timothy's, right? Um, right, we just read it. I'll start here, First Timothy's 5 and 13. And withal they learned to be idle, wandering about from house to house, and not only idle, but tattlers also, and busybodies speaking things which they ought not. And that goes through social media, Twitter, Instagram, OnlyFans, just talking and posting shit, right? So I don't want to be too redundant. I already covered this, but I got to bring this up again, man. Right? And that's what social media brings. It just brings it cause these things cause you to be idle, wasting time. And because you're wasting time, now you're gonna dabble into the devil's playground, right? Demonic thoughts are gonna come into your head because you have nothing to do, nothing better else to do. So it says here, Jalen hired a lawyer and recently said the nursing home offered her a job back with a settlement. Jalen declined the offer and said, "I'll see you in court." Even Jalen, who earns enough on OnlyFans to forego a 9 to 5, told her TikTok followers that she kept her nursing job in part because you never know what you're going to make on OnlyFans. One month you could make 600, and the one month you could make 50,000. It just really, really depends, Jalen said. Wow. So there you go. Like, that's a lot of stuff I brought out. It's true, you get the point already. Um, you know what it is. Let me see if I covered all the precepts that I wanted. Go back and talk about it. Already read it. Amos. I didn't read Second Ezra's. Actually, let me read that. And I didn't read Zechariah because, when all hell breaks loose, you're gonna actually ride the cock carousel in a weird way, except you're not gonna do it. It's gonna be against your own will this time. Because I mentioned that earlier, when the troops invade here, they're going to need a release, right? So what are they going to do? If they see you straggling along and you're caught up out there, they're going to take you and probably put you and make you a sex slave, right? And also domestically, when civil unrest breaks out, when martial law breaks out, and when society, where anarchy happens and society collapses, that's what people are going to resort to, especially men. And in that day, men are going to take shit, right? They're not going to ask you for your number in that day. They're going to take you. If they see you and you look good, they're going to take you, right? So this says, um, this is 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 32. I'll start here. Actually, 31. Even so in those days, there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword. And the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travel through therethrough. Yeah, and it's gonna be a very scarce thing to see a man in that day, right? It is. Verse 33: the virgin shall mourn, having no bridegrooms; the woman shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. And men are going to be scarce. And it also says, in that day, 7 women shall take hold onto one man. Right? It does. And men in that time, it's going to be a scarce commodity. You're not going to have a man to protect you. You're going to be wishing that you had a man. You see, men now, they're expendable. Like in the media, pop culture, in these shows, they always make the man or the husband look like an idiot. When his role is very key, when he's very important. He's the husbandman. He lays the foundation, he plants his seed, and he establishes order. And then they make the woman look like a genius, man. You have these shows like Family Guy, The American Dad, Family Matters, Married with Children. They all make the guy look like a loser, man. They all make the man look like a loser. But in that day, you're going to wish you had a good man, and a strong man, and a spiritual man, a man of the Lord. The virgin shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The woman shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. Right? And nobody's going to come and save you. No Captain Save-A-Ho. No simp. Weak men aren't going to come and save you. A lot of weak men in this place, too. A lot of beta male mangina cucks, man. Right? Especially in California, too. San Francisco, man. I watch documentaries on that place. That place is weak as fuck, man. And that's why the Lord has men of the Lord out there cursing that place out. Weak as hell, man. Got that whole LGBT movement out there. Weak as fuck, man. Weak as shit. And over here in Toronto, too. Weak as hell, man. A lot of cucks. See them walking up down the street, pushing the stroller and holding a purse, man. A lot of cucks. God damn. Weak ass dudes. Can't stand you niggas, man. Excuse me. So it says, verse 34, in the war shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. That's right. So you're going to be, your husbands are going to be killed in the time of war. You're going to get shot up. They're going to get drafted, going to get eaten, going to get beaten, right? Just look what happened in the World War I and World War II, right? When all the men left, guess who had to do all the work? You women, man. You women. You had to do all the work, all the hard work. And you know what? That put you in a bad position later on down the road. That was a whole setup by the international bankers to tax you women now, to make more money off of your simple asses. But you know what you people thought? You thought it was a good thing. But it ain't going to play out like how it did back in World War II and World War I when the men left. Now you're going to lose it all. Now you're not going to have anything to do. How about that? Simple ass people, man. Simps. So it says, love cursing you people out. So it says, the virgin shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. I already read that. So it says, in the war, verse 34, in the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine, of food, man, right? And also of the spiritual food, right? Not going to have that spiritual food. You're going to perish. I believe the scriptures talk about that, about the famine of the word, right? And what did it says? Wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and the strength of thy salvation. That's what it says. How about that? So yeah, you're going to perish of literal famine and also the famine of the word. And you know what? The famine of the word is starting right now. And it's going to be, and it's going to get worse down the road when we come closer and closer to the end. Hear now these things and understand them, ye servants of the Lord. That's right. Understand this shit. Because you're a servant. Better understand it. Listen good. Behold the word of the Lord, receive it. Believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack. That's right. These plagues draw nigh, and it's plagues. It's plural. You got many plagues. You got the missiles. You got the Lord coming. That's gonna burn this place up. You got civil unrest. You got concentration camps. You got the MOTB. They draw nigh, man, and are not slack, because the Lord does not slumber and He's not lazy. And when He says He's gonna judge you, He's gonna judge you. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it shall surely come to pass. And it is going to come to pass, and it ain't slack. The day of the Lord is a day to the Lord is 1,000 years, and the Lord, He's not working on your time. And He's going to come right on time, because He's always on time, because He's on His time. So it ain't going to be slack. Verse 38, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her. Womb which pains, when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. Yeah, you go into labor pains. Oh my God, it hurts. Oh, and then after, when that birth comes, it sucks. You know what? You're not going to have anything to quench them pains. What do they call it? Epidermal? I forgot the term. Epidermal, you put a shot in your back so you don't feel the pain. You're not going to get anything to soothe your pain in that birth when these plagues come. It's going to come hard and it's going to hurt. When a woman, she looks terrible when she gives birth, man. Looks terrible. Hair's all messy, biting her tongue, biting her nails are all chipped, right? Takes a number 2 while she's giving her birth, doo-doo all over her feces, blood everywhere, sweating. Going, That's you people, man, when these plagues come, man. That's how it's going to feel. It's going to hurt. All right? It's going to hurt. Yeah, man, just go look up childbirth, man, if you can stomach it. It looked terrible. It would look terrible, man. All right, so it says, even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrows shall come upon it every side. And my people, hear my word, make ye ready to thy battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. All right, that's all that I want there. So let's move on. Let's go to Zechariah chapter 14 and 2. For I'll gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the house is rifled. That's right. They're going to invade your house, kick your door down. That's right. Kick your door down. Have an assault rifle in their hand. Have MREs in their bags. Some big steel toe boots kicking down your door. Get the fuck on the ground. Or speaking in Korean or speaking in Chinese. Yang, 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 yang. Kicking your door down. Hit gun button you with the rifle. You putting your hands up like a simp with a Pop-Tart in your mouth at the dinner table. Oh my God. Milk spills all over the table. Flip the table over. And you're going to be taken and be a bitch in that day. That's right. So for I'll gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the house is rifled, and the woman ravished. Did you see that? Ravished. And I put some emphasis on that. Ravished. Right? Taken. Raped. That's right. Open your legs. That's what they're going to do. Take it. And that's what they're going to do in that day. They're going to take it, man. And they're not going to ask for it. They're going to take it. And this befell our own people, our nation, Jerusalem. But that's going to happen again over here in Babylon the Great, man. Houses are going to get rifled. Women are going to get ravished. And it says, and half the city shall go forth into captivity. And that goes into concentration camps. Some of you are going to escape, right? The authorities, but a large portion of you are going to be putting them in internment camps, probably getting chipped up, getting guillotined, getting your head chopped off, getting probed, because Esau's a sick bastard, probably put stuff up your bum, put up your rectum and shit, doing all this wicked stuff, cutting your hands off, beating you, right? and half of the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of my people shall not be cut off from the city. Boom. And ultimately, the elect at the end of the day, they're going to survive stuff. And some of the elect, they may get in these, be put in these concentration camps, but you're going to be saved out of it. Or, some of our people may be put to death, right? For the Lord's sake, for the Lord's name as well, right? So there you go. Then shall the Lord go forth and fight against those nations, and when he fought in the day, as when he fought in the day of battle. That's right. So it's going to befall you again. Getting ravished, getting your house rifled. You sitting at the table with a Pop-Tart in your mouth, a toasted strudel, having breakfast, about to go to work, right? Hurry, honey, I'm coming back home. I want to go to the movies. Have a Pop-Tart in your mouth. Comes in, kicks the door down. Oh my God, kicked up. And anyways, man, that's just me. I'm talking shit now. So that's what I wanted to bring out. I want to do more though, but let's see what else we got. What else we got, man? The Lord is gonna destroy this day, destroy this place, man. You know what? I'll get one more thing and then go. Let's go. So this is First Thessalonians chapter 5, right? Because what spirit are we supposed to be in? After reading all of this and seeing this garbage, what spirit are we supposed to be in? We're supposed to be the children of light. We're supposed to be the light bearers, and we are, because we are illuminated. Going into Baruch the 4th chapter, take hold of the word, Jacob, and become illuminated, right? Briefly paraphrasing. So you got to be the children of light. You got to be illuminated. You got to stay prayed up. You got to fast up. You got to go on the highways. You got to teach this word. All right. So let's get it. Let's go into it. First Thessalonians chapter 5, and I'll start at 1. It says, the day of the Lord. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. That's right. And like I said, he's going to come when you least expect. All these calamities that are going to befall upon America and our people, it's going to come like a thief in the night. And a thief don't tell you when he's coming. And you know when he comes? He comes in the nighttime. And he's coming to take your stuff and to also take your life. So that's how the day of the Lord is going to come, when you least expect. Verse 3, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. And we just read that earlier about the birth pains, right? These plagues are not slack. The Lord is not slack. And that's how it's going to come. And it's going to come when you say peace and safety, when you think everything's good. When you just take that MOTB, when you get your credit score up, get your debt cleared, get that nice new job, that nice car, right? Everything's good. And then that's when the Lord comes. Then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness. That day should overtake you as a thief. That's right. So it won't, because you're illuminated and you know the times, right? And you know how to decipher the times through the scriptures. That's what Yahushua told you, right? In Matthew the 24th chapter. These are the signs that when I'm going to come back, watch out for them. He told the disciples that, which later on became apostles, didn't he? Matthew the 24th chapter on down, huh? I think it starts at verse 8, right? So it says, ye are the children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. That's right. So we have the knowledge. We are not of the night. We are not ignorant concerning Satan's devices. We are not ignorant. We are in the know, right? And you know why we got the light? Because we got the lamp. We get that. This is going back into Proverbs chapter 6, verse 23. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproofs of instruction are the way of life. And that entails the law, statute, commandments, and also these scriptures, the wisdom that comes with it. So that's the light, man. And so if you have these things, You are a child of light, right? So there you go. Let's go back. Let's go back. So it says, verse 6, therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. So you're supposed to be on your P's and Q's. You're supposed to be a watchman, watching for the times, staying up to date with current events. That's very important. Are you watching the news? Even though the news is fake, but are you deciphering it through the scriptures? Are you keeping an eye on that? It's good to do breakdowns. It's very important. Don't get me wrong. Doing breakdowns, doing those hard chapters, that's very important. But you also got to keep up with current events too, because we are in the end times, man, and shit is about to hit the fan. So you got to pay attention, right? Pay attention. Don't slack on the news if you're doing that. So it says, but let us watch and be sober. For they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. And you don't want to be drunk with the philosophies, man, of Babylon the Great. You don't want to be drunk, right? You want to be sober. And a majority of our people, they're drunk with the philosophies of Babylon, which are the philosophies of all the other nations, man. Caught up into Christianity, drunk off that. Worshiping Buddha, worshiping Allah, being a Jew, Zoroastrianism, right? Or just idle, just drunk off of yourself, right? Verse 8, but let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for an helmet, the hope of salvation. That's right. And you're supposed to wear this 100% truth, right? Matter of fact, since I spoke of that, let's get Ephesians 6. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 11. Put on the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. And that goes into the tricks, the cunning devices that the so-called white men and the other nations have set up out here for you. The traps. Okay. Verse 12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. That's right. So you're not just wrestling against flesh and blood. You're wrestling with demons and demonic forces, man, and wicked people in high places. Spiritual wickedness, man, spiritual demonic sacrifices that are taking place to wean you out or to sift you out the truth, right? So it says, wherefore take unto you the whole armor of the Lord, power, Yahweh Shem Yoshai, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand. That's right. It says, having done all to stand. So you have to do whatever it takes. Notice it says, it didn't say do some to stand. It says do all to stand. Includes the New Testament, the Old Testament and the New Testament. Going out there to the highways and byways. So you got to do whatever it takes to put this armor on and to keep it on. Oh, I'm just going to come to camp and, how you doing, buddy? Hey, brother. Shalom. Yahweh Shem Yeshai Brakatha. See you, brother. You're not supposed to do that. It starts what you do behind the scenes, too. More so. It's not just about coming to camp and going through the motions. Right? And I'm not saying, brothers who are not like in the spirit aren't going to make it. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm not saying don't like a brother like that for acting like that. I'm not saying to discriminate against a brother. I'm just saying, man, you got to do whatever it takes to stay in the good graces of Yahweh Shem Yoshai, to survive this shithole, man, and to survive all the hell that is going to come. That's all I'm saying. That's all. Verse 14, stand therefore having your loins girt about with truth, and having a breastplate of righteousness. That's right. Gird your loins up like a man. Right? Your loins are girded. That means the angels are with you too. All right. But it says, having your loins girded about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith. Right. So you got to have faith too. Right. Faith is gonna deliver you out of these times, man. Because the times that are coming, you know, your flesh and your flesh and your fleshly eyes are going to tell you, man, I'm never going to get through this. But having faith, it's going to get you through this, because faith is the evidence of things not seen, and it's a substance of things hoped for. So if you hope to get out of this destruction, if you hope to get out of martial law, you got to have faith. And hope and faith are synonymous, by the way. All right. So you can't make it with your carnal eyes, with your fleshly mind, man. Oh man, because when those things come, it's gonna look like the Lord is never gonna come and save you. That's how bad it's gonna be, man. So you gotta have faith. That's why I quoted earlier Isaiah chapter 33 and 6. Right? Wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and the strength of our salvation. And that comes with faith too. Right? So, anyways, it says, above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of the Most High, praying always with all prayer and supplication in spirit. All right, so you gotta pray, and you gotta show supplication, right? To make holy, to separate, right? Supplication, which comes in the form of fasting too. You know, in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all. So what is perseverance? It's perseverance. I think it goes into integrity as well. Never giving up. Okay. To be devoted or constant to one, to be steadfastly attentive unto, to give unremitting care to a thing, to continue all the time in a place, to preserve and not to faint, to show oneself courageous for, to be in constant readiness for one, wait on constantly. And it also goes into anticipating as well. And a very like prominent coach over here that I knew, that is well known, a basketball coach. He told me, the great players always anticipate, and he went on to explain and said that they're ready. So that's the elect. That's the 144. They're gonna persevere. Those are the saints. They're gonna always be ready. They're gonna always anticipate. Like your mind should be, you should be anticipating the Lord's gonna come right now. Persevering, man. Keep going. Pushing through the trials, right? Being ready to take on more trials and asking the Lord to be there with you, right? To get you through it. Persevering, man. To continue all the time in a place. And what place are we in? We're in Babylon. And some people take an excuse to continue on because it gets too hard. Well, you know what? You're not persevering. You're not showing perseverance. Like, you got to fight. The scripture says contend for the faith. So if you're contending for something, especially if it's steadfastly, that means you actually show perseverance if you're contending. And that's where we get on vocab. Well, really, the elders and apostles get on vocab Malone, get on Nate Satan, right? Get on you guys. Some of you guys, right? I'm not saying you're all, you know what I mean? Like getting on the characters that are bad, and getting on these Edomites, getting on these devils. You got to contend, man. You got to keep doing it and fight for the gospel, right? So yeah, persevere. I over-explained that. So let's move on. So it says, persevere and supplication for all saints, And for me that utterance may be given unto me, that I may open my mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel. Mhm. Interesting. Let's go back now. This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and 9. For the Most High hath not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by our Lord Hamashiach Yahushai. That's right, because you are the vessels of honor, Jacob. Romans 9 and 20 on down. Do I gotta get it? The Lord, he doesn't want to destroy you. And our people think that. They think the Lord wants to destroy them. They think the Lord wants to kill them all the time. And it's to the point, it's not killing. They don't use that definition. They say the Lord wants to murder them. So kill and murder are two different things. Right? Killing is for righteousness' sakes, and murder is when you go against the law. So they claim that the Lord is a murderer, man, but he's not. Our people really think that way about the Lord, but we're not fitted to wrath. Let me get it. Romans 9 and 21. I'll start at 20. It says Romans chapter, no, actually, I'll start at 19. Thou wilt say then unto me, why doth he yet find fault? For who hath resisted his will? And nobody can resist the Lord's will. Nay, but, O man, who art thou that repliest against the Most High? Shall the thing formed say to him that formed it, why hast thou made me thus? And Esau asked that question. Even our people ask that question. They always question the Lord. Why did you make me? Why did you put me on this earth? Did you put me on this earth to suffer? You must hate me. A lot of our people think that way, man. Telling the Lord, why did you make me? I'm my own person. I can do whatever I want. I don't got to listen to you. That's the psyche of the people out here, man. The people that don't believe. Verse 21. Hath not the potter power over the clay of the same lump to make one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor? That's right. So he has the power over the clay, which is you people. Because you are clay. You are ashes and dust. You are from the earth. And he molds you with his hands. And he has power to do it. So he says to make one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor. We're the vessels of honor, the ones who were given the law, statutes, and commandments. You Jacobites, you Israelites. And another unto dishonor. That's right, you Edomites. Verse 22. What if the Most High power, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endure with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction? And Esau, you were made to die. That's your purpose. You were created to die. That's why you lost a blessing in the beginning. He got supplanted, well, 2 times, right? You got the birthright, and then you got the blessing from the father, right? Isaac. And then he supplanted you with food. And you sold your birthright for a morsel of meat, right? So yeah, you're destroyed, buddy. Once you lose your birthright and then you lose the blessing of the father, it pretty much goes downhill from there, buddy. It sucks. So it says, endured with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction. And that's why you have other precepts that go along with this. It says he has created the waster to destroy. Goes into the ICBM missiles, man. And your blessing is the sword. And that sword is going to kill you. Right? That's why it says he created the smith to destroy. Right? I believe that's Isaiah. I think it's Isaiah 51. Goes into I've created the smith to destroy. It goes into the scientists, which goes into you Temanites. The intelligent ones of the house of Edom. So you were given that blessing, the sword, to kill yourself with the ICBM missiles. That's why you are known as the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction. Moving on, verse 23. And that he might make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy, which he had afore prepared unto glory. That's right. Did you hear that? And that's you Israelites. You were given the covenant, you were given the law, statute, and commandment. And when you get delivered out of this hellhole, you're going to be uplifted, man, and exalted by Yahweh Bashem Yoshai. You're going to be given riches. You're going to be given lands. You're going to give many mansions. You're going to be given a crown and a scepter in your hand. Isaiah chapter 60 and Isaiah chapter 61 go into that. Right? So that's what you're prepared for glory. And that's why you're going through what you're going through. You're going through all these trials because you're being purged to be a ruler. You're going to become a God, the sons of God. That's your true place. That's your true place. That's where you belong. You belong as a ruler, as a God, man. That's why your name is Yasha. He is the Prince of the power, which is He is the Prince of God. Okay, you are the Prince, and you are the sons of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. That's your rightful place. And through the rank and file, you're going to be given a throne. You're going to be given a high position, obviously through the rank and file, and you're going to be ruling. And nobody's going to ever take that away from you. That's what you're going to inherit, man. Right? Verse 24, even us whom He have called, not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles. And that's going into the Israelite foreigners who got transformed. They were a part of the Gentiles, looking like the Gentiles, speaking like them, but now they're converted and they're coming back to their nationality. Right? So that's the type of Gentiles it's talking about. Not you other nations. Not you other nations. Not you other nations. Lord ain't dealing with you. So let's move on. Let's go back a couple more and I'll close up. Verse 10, who died for us, that whether we wake or sleep, we should live together with Him. That's right. And He did die for us to do that. Yahweh Shai did that. He died for us as that sacrifice, that unblemished lamb. That took a lot of suffering, man. That was a big, heavy sacrifice that the Lord did. Very serious. And that's how you're going to get the kingdom. That's how you're that vessel of honor. It starts with Yahweh Shai dying on that cross, man. The Savior saving you, dying for you, dying for your sins, and then coming back and delivering you. Wherefore, comfort yourselves together and edify one another, even as also you do. So you got to comfort yourselves together. And how do you comfort yourselves? And how do you comfort other brothers? With this truth. Right? And that's why it's for edification. That's why Elder Apostle Gabar, he what did he title his channel? What did he name it? The Daily Edification, the Daily Exhortation. So that's where true comfort comes from, and that's where edification comes from. These scriptures. So that's what you're supposed to be doing. Not bashing one another, not holding a grudge, not bucking up while you're at camp. You're supposed to be about the word, man. Not being a pompous fuck. All right? Not being a dumbass. You're supposed to comfort yourself and every other brother with these lessons, with these scriptures, making videos, pushing out good content, not just pushing out a video because you want to push out a video. Right? Even as also ye do. And we beseech you, brethren, to know them which labor among you and are over you in the Lord and admonish you. Right? To esteem them very highly in love for their work's sake, and be at peace among yourselves. That's right. So, that also comes with a rank and file too. Giving double honors and giving credit where credit is due. Which you don't see that taking place in Israel. When you have the right men who are pushing the truth the right way, they're not really getting the credit they're getting. they're not really getting the right credit. And they're not being honored. You know what I mean? That has to be done. That includes respecting. It's not just the elders and apostles. It goes through the rank and file. You may have brothers that have come in before you, and you shouldn't be treating them like they don't know nothing, man. Like they're idiots, treating everybody like an idiot. When really that's not your place to be doing that, especially when you don't know nothing. Got a lot of guys doing that, man. That know-it-all spirit, man. That spirit's gonna get cut, and it's gonna happen in due time. So hey, it is what it is. So now it goes into Christian conduct. And we beseech you, brethren, to know them which labor among you. Actually, verse 13, and to esteem them very highly and love for their works' sake, and be at peace among yourselves. Now we exhort you, brethren, warn them that are unruly, comfort the feeble-minded. That's right. So that comes with compassion, man, because our people are going to be feeble-minded, weak-minded. Right? Feeble-minded. What is this? Oligosophocos. I can't pronounce it. Oh, oligopsychos. Psychos. Okay, let's hear the Bible.
Strong's G 3642. Oligopsychos. Oligopsychos.
Wow, I'm way off. Way off. But anyways, it says faint-hearted. That's right, faint-hearted. They lack a little bit of faith. Little spirit. That goes into a feeble-minded person. They're not as confident, right? Being with faith, not as confident. So you got to comfort them. So you can't be too harsh on people. So sometimes you can take it down a notch. You may have a brother that's just not as strong in the spirit. So you got to work with that guy because he's humble. Got to work with that guy. Can't cast that man aside if he's willing to do right, if he's sincere. And you got to remember, our people are broken, man. They don't have faith because they've been in this place too long. I see it every day with our people, man. That goes for the confusion of faith, because I can read them in the spirit, and it goes for the Israelites that look like they're Israelites, if you know what I mean. Look like Israelites, the outer appearance, so-called black, so-called Hispanic, right? A lot of our people are just broken down, man. So they're not gonna be confident, gonna have low self-esteem. They're not gonna have faith. So they're gonna be feeble, man. They're gonna be weak. So that's why it says you gotta comfort yourselves together and edify, man. You gotta build that person up. You gotta build them up, not tear them down. So let's move back. It says, why does it keep moving? Like I didn't move it there. So anyways, it says verse 15, see that none render evil for evil unto any man, but ever follow that which is good, both among yourselves and to all men. Rejoice evermore, praying without ceasing. In everything give thanks. That's right, give thanks, for this is the will of the Most High and Hamashiach Yahushua concerning you. So that concerns you. So you got to give thanks for what you have. Having this eternal truth, having a camp, right, to go to, having a car to push the work, having a home, having a computer, having a smartphone to do the work, being thankful for all those things, being thankful for having the truth, right? Verse 19, quench not the spirit. That's right, never quench the spirit, never suppress it, because that's what quench means, to suppress it. When you get the opportunity to bring it out, bring it out. If a brother's talking on the highways and the atmosphere or the environment or the vibe and no precepts are coming out, bring out them fucking precepts, man. Don't just fucking stand there. Go on your smartphone, look it up. Try and engage. Look at what the brother's talking about. Don't just fucking stand there, man. Do something. Don't suppress this. Let it flow, man. And that also goes into don't suppress what another brother's saying as well. If a brother has a point, if a brother knows something and somebody comes up and he can break it down, don't fucking cut the guy off. Let him fucking finish the statement, man, or the sentence. Let him talk to the guy or the person that comes up, whatever. Don't suppress the spirit, right? Because if you do that, the Lord's gonna make you pay for that, and it's gonna eventually come out. So anyways, it says, verse 20, despise not prophesying. That's right. Despise not going out there and saying things before it happens. And I read that earlier, man, with Amos, right? Amaziah, that wicked priest, and you have a lot of modern day Amaziahs. We can name names, that were worshiping a Baal, coming up against the truth and saying, you can't do this. That's not what the Bible says. Oh, you're wicked. You're this, you're that. But you know what? He despised prophesying, priest Amaziah. You saw it. And you know what? Amos cursed him out and said, your wife is going to be a harlot, and your sons and your daughters are going to fall by the sword. And you know what? You're going to go into captivity, and Israel's going to go into captivity in the future. A lot of people, they don't want that to be brought out. They don't want us to talk about that. You shouldn't hate prophesying, man. You shouldn't have, you shouldn't despise that shit. That's wicked as hell. That's wicked. So let's go back. So it says, quench not the spirit, despise not prophesying, prove all things, hold fast that which is good. That's right. You got to prove all things. So yeah, you should be breaking down things, man. When you go out there on the highways, when you do these lessons, you should break it down. You shouldn't just skim over it. You should look up the words. You should prove it. Prove what you're saying is true. Remember, you're a salesman in this thing. You're marketing this truth. You're contending for the gospel. You're fighting for the good fight. You got to prove everything, man. You got to prove it to the best of your ability. Okay? Prove it to the best of your ability. All things. And my mentality is, when these people come up, I want, like, especially if they come into the camp and they start talking and they ask questions, I want them to leave with all this information. I want to flood them with information by proving all things, man. I want them to leave knowing that they got loaded with a lot of information, so they can go and share it with others. Prove all things, man. Making sure that person leaves with all that information, as much as he can handle, or as much as you can dish out, right? Abstain from all appearance of evil, bad times, right? Bad things. And that's what we're trying to do. Abstain from all appearance of evil. And abstain means to keep away from it, to abhor it. Because once you move away from the law, statutes, and commandments, that's what it's going to bring. Evil, bad times. So you want to abstain from that by following the law, statutes, and commandments, man. Because we know already sin is transgression of the law. And also, when people come up with their bullshit, they try to say something evil, then you got to rebuke it. Right? Rebuke it. Anyways, so it says, and the very power of peace sanctify you wholly. And I pray, Yahweh Shem Yoshai, your whole spirit and soul and body be preserved blameless unto the coming of our Lord Hamashiach Yahushai. And that entails the elect. They are going to be blameless. They are. Why? Isaiah chapter 1 talks about that. Let's get it. Isaiah chapter 1 and 18, doesn't it? Right? So let us reason, beautiful. Let us reason. Because that's what men do, brothers. We reason. Logic. And this truth is logical and it's spiritual. So let us reason. Isaiah chapter 1, verse 18. Come now and let us reason together, saith Yahweh. Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they be red like crimson, they shall be as wool. If ye be willing and obedient, ye shall eat the good of the land. But if ye refuse and rebel, ye shall be devoured with the sword, for the mouth of Yahweh Ba'ashem El Shai has spoken it. So, we have sinned and we have went off, but in the sight of the Lord, we are white as snow. We are pure because we have come back into this truth and we have acknowledged what we've done. And we still go off, but, our heart, but we're trying to make things right and we're trying to do the right thing all the time. Right? So in the sight of the Lord, we are as white as snow. We are pure because we got the knowledge. And ultimately, you're pretty much a part of the elect, most likely, right? But you got to be willing and you got to be obedient. You can't be a rebel, because rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. All right? Don't want to be a witch. Don't want to be a rebel. You got to be willing, man. You got to be willing. So let's move on. So it says, verse 24, faithful is he that calleth you, who also will do it. Brethren, pray for us. Greet all the brethren with an holy kiss. I charge you by the Lord that this epistle be read unto all the holy brethren. See if that means, let me just see what that means there. Holy kiss, right? That's you know what holy means. Okay, it's holy things, pure, right? Morally blameless, pure. Let's see what kiss says. Let's see what kiss says. Kiss, a kith was which, a sign of fraternal affection. Oh, that's right. As a sign of fraternal affection. Okay, all right. Fraternal affection. Let's see what that means again. I've forgotten the word. Of or like a brother or brothers. That's right. Okay. Fraternal, little brotherhood. Okay. Supposed to kiss the brethren, Interesting. Where did I go here? Yeah. Christians were accustomed to welcome or dismiss their companions in the faith. Okay, people used to do that too. That's also physical too. That's accustomed to, right? But you're not gonna do that now, right? But spiritually, right? Give kiss, brother. That's kind of weird. On the cheek. They do that. There's customs. They do that. Give kiss, brother. Come on. Nah, get the fuck out of my face, man. I did that shit. But you know what I mean, man. It's just weird, you know what I mean? You wouldn't do that now, like on how this place is set up. You just wouldn't do that. Like, you know what I mean, right? So verse 26, greet all the brethren with an holy kiss. I charge you by the Lord that this epistle be read unto all the holy brethren. The grace of our Lord Hamashiach Yahushai be with you. Amen. So yeah, that's it. That's all I got. I hope this is edifying. With that, just want to give all praises, glory, and honor due unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakaha Kodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace and salutations unto the whole elect, Kwam Yashu Allah and above all, and Shalom. All right.